Tim Collins with Cullman Today. I'm with Senator Bussman. We're exploring week number 5 down in Montgomery, legislative session. Senator, things started to happen down there a little bit, and I normally go through each of the line items with you each week. Would you mind if we not do that this time?
That's fine. We ran into some roadblocks this week.
That's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about the roadblocks, what they mean, what they're about, and what you're going to do.
All right. Let me explain to you first what's happening. The universities around the state of Alabama, many of them have a mileage radius, an arbitrary mileage radius around their university where a freshman cannot live in the dorm. Okay, so what has occurred in my district, we have no university in the state of Alabama that my district can attend without paying an additional $10,000 a year to be forced to live in a freshman dorm. To me, that's extremely unfair. My district is paying taxes just like anybody else. My district supports the education system. My district supports the university system. And for the universities to set an arbitrary number and prevent the citizens of District 4 from going to a university without being forced to pay that freshman dorm, I think is unrealistic.
Now let's simplify that down. If I'm a parent with college-age kids and I want my child to go to a college, I have to pay as a freshman to be in the dorm.
Absolutely. Let's take UAH, for example, University of Alabama in Huntsville. If you live outside of 30 miles of the campus of UAH, you have to live in the dorms as a freshman, which is a $10,000 a year cost. Even though the parents may drive back and forth to Huntsville to work every day, and it's only 45 miles from Cullman to UAH, the people in Cullman would have to live in the dorms. They would be forced to live in the dorms. There is no way they cannot live in the dorms. And to me, that is very unfair.
Well, they cannot live there, but they can't be a student, right? In other words, that's their option. If they reject the idea of being in the dorm, well, they can't be a student.
That's correct. And so what that does, it forces that child to go to a community college that they may not want to do. They may want to go to UAH to start with. That may be their plan of action. But to force them to pay $10,000 more a year when the people from Decatur, when the people from Faulkville, when the people from those areas are able to go without that expense. To me, it's just common sense. It's a fairness issue. We have people that are coming in from, we have an agreement with Georgia and Mississippi and Tennessee that if you're within a certain number of miles of a university and you live out of state, you can come to an Alabama university and not pay out-of-state fees. But then we turn around and tell our in-state people who have been paying taxes and who've been working and trying to make a living here in the state, we're telling them, no, you're going to be forced to live in the dorm. And I think that's a problem.
That's a mess. If you're from out of state, anywhere I've ever been from, you have to pay out-of-state tuition, even if you live 10 feet across the border.
Well, and you would think that would be the case, but the universities over the years have lobbied to make that an active enrollment group. But if you just think of that, where those people the parents of those children have never paid a red cent in tax in the state of Alabama, yet we're allowing them to go to a public-funded university and not charge them an out-of-state fee. And then we turn around and we have people who have been paying into the tax system for Alabama for years, and now we're telling them, well, you've got to pay an extra $10,000 a year just to live in a dorm. And part of the problem here is that these universities have built these fine, nice dormitories, and in order to make the payments on those dormitories, they got to keep them full. And to keep them full, they have to force freshmen to live in the dorms. And again, that is to mandate that somebody does that is to me is inappropriate.
Well, now this is, even though it's a big issue, it's a smaller symptom of a much bigger problem, is it not?
It is. K-12 and the community college system has been at the mercy of higher education for the last many years. And I made it clear last year when I shot a warning shot over the bow at higher education. I said, we're going to change the way we do budgeting here in Alabama. You're no longer going to be in control of that much money. We have got to start funding K-12. We have got to start funding our community colleges. You go around to universities, there is not an old building on the campus. Every university you go to, you'll see 3 or 4 cranes building new buildings. You go around our school system, you go around the system in Alabama, in rural Alabama, You've got buildings that are falling down. You've got buildings that have mold in them. You have buildings that are leaking water. It's inexcusable, and we've got to fix that. And the way we do that is in the budgeting process.
Well, now I've done a little bit of amateur forensic accounting, and I may be wrong, but it looks like that the higher education system, the universities, are now the biggest special interest, campaign money, and I don't see any checks or balances. They just do whatever they want. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. They are the big dog on the porch right now, and they have so much influence with the legislators that other people really don't have a chance. If you want to try to go against higher education, you're going to have a tremendous fight. You're probably going to lose, and then that's going to be a problem.
Well, and that's exactly what you're going to do, isn't it?
Well, that's what I'm going to do. That's the right thing to do. It's not right to let universities treat people differently in the state of Alabama. We should all be treated the same. Where there's a lot of issues that are here, but the main issue is there's very little oversight in higher education. And I get to choose. I get to be part of the decision in how that budget is made, and that's where we have control over higher education in the budget process.
Well, we talked about this briefly last week, but my understanding, I'm going to try to simplify it down, is all of us in your District 4, Cullman, Lawrence, Marion, Winston, we're paying tax money, and it's going into an education fund, but that money doesn't come back into this area because we don't have any big-time universities, and so we're paying for Tuscaloosa, Auburn, Troy, so forth. And we get nothing, right?
That is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. The 25% of the education budget goes to higher education, which means that this district has there's no funding coming back to this district for that money. And that's just not fair. And all I'm asking the universities to do is to let the children and the students in my district come to your university. If they're living with their parents, come to your university without forcing them to live in the dorm.
That seems like a simple request, but as you said a minute ago, there's going to be a tremendous resistance. You're going to have to battle just to even get them to consider that, right?
It's going to be a tremendous battle, and I'm prepared for that battle. I was prepared for that battle before this even came up, because I knew we were going to have to start reining in higher education's budget. And anytime you start doing that, you're poking a stick at the dog on the porch.
Well, if they're the big dog on the porch, you don't have a whole lot of sticks. You've got rules and a thing called a filibuster. What are you going to do?
Well, I've got the rules, and I am the senator. The lobbyists can do what they want to do in the halls of the State House. They can talk to people as much as they want to in the State House. I'm the senator on the floor. I have the ability to use the rules to do what I need to do to get their attention. And that may be filibuster, that may be slow everything down, that may be stop legislation from passing, that may be stop the education budget from passing until it's appropriate. We have a lot of tools. And the tools that I have as a senator, I'm on the floor and can use every one of those tools. Now, they can get mad at me outside in the State House halls, but they don't come through that door like I do. And I represent 150,000 people, and I expect those people to be treated fairly.
You're going to have a long week in Montgomery, aren't you?
It's going to be a long week. It's going to be a tedious week. It's going to be a tremendously emotional week, and we just have to do it. And I don't. I've never backed off from looking out for the best interest of my district. And when something is unfair, I've never stopped trying to fix that unfairness. And I don't plan on stopping on this one. I think we've got some things that need to be fixed, and it's worth fighting for.
And isn't that really the bottom line? It is about money, but it's really about principle.
It is based on principle. We need to treat everybody in the state fairly. If somebody is providing income from the state through tax money, they should be given the same opportunities as every other student in the state. And that's all we're asking. And so we're gonna use what we have, the tools we have, and try to get their attention and try to make sure that happens.
Sounds like a plan.
It's going to be fun.
We'll put Domino Pizza on speed dial just in case you need it. You might have long nights down there.
It may be long nights.
Senator, thank you so much. Good luck.
Yes, sir.